from the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma.
Hello everybody, welcome to this week's Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Jim Burroughs, I'm the East Central Region Fishery Supervisor, and today we're on the Lower Illinois River. The Illinois River here is one of Oklahoma's 2 year-round trout fisheries in the state, premier fishing opportunity for anglers. It was created as a loss of the warm water fishery from the construction of the dam in 1952 and started as a year-round trout fishery in 1965. I've been working down here now for over 20 years, I guess it's been, and the Wildlife Department's been working really hard to improve this area for anglers. We've done some habitat work. We've worked with our federal hatcheries to provide us with some larger fish. We're even going out our own and buying some larger fish to stock, and as you can imagine, the anglers seem pretty happy with that, and we're always aiming to please. Management of the stream here, though, does not come without some hurdles, especially in the summertime. We have issues here with dissolved oxygen and high temperatures as well, but we'll talk about those a little later in the show. But right now, I want you to stick around and join us for a springtime trout fishing trip with Game Warden Ed Rodebush and his buddies Hal Kirkpatrick, Dennis Lennons, and Greg Moore.
I started fishing down here in about 1969. I had a 68 El Camino that I used to load up my little brother in and my buddy. And we'd bring about 50 cans of Viennes and a couple loaves of bread and some Mountain Dew and Pepsi and sleep in the back of that thing, and we'd all be down here 3 or 4 days. Back then we used spinners, and we'd buy a can of corn at the grocery store and fish it on a salmon egg hook, and then we'd use salmon eggs also.
No wind at all. Ed, I came out last Friday by myself and went up to the old, where we usually go.
Uh-huh.
It was nice. It was, caught about 5 and let them go back. I hope I'm not in over my wallet yet. Got my,
you might want to put that in your upper pocket, because you will step off it.
I probably should have done that. May do it now.
As much money as you carry, it's liable to weight you down.
Yeah, I've got.
We have to make a rescue on you here. Okay, who's got who there?
We're all tied up here. We're probably going to lose our fish.
Hal has a fish caught.
Or did have.
And he's also caught Dennis.
I've caught his line.
So he has a trout and a big sucker both at the same time. Is the fish still on, Hal?
I can't tell. Let's see.
Just grab your line and whale rope him in, just
Okay.
like you did back in 3rd grade.
He's caught. He's hooked. Of course, this is a little unconventional for the.
Oh, that's a nice fish, too.
It is a nice fish. Now, are we keeping these today?
Well, whatever you want to do.
He is so strong. He's a big fish.
Yeah.
This is a nice fish, nice fish.
Yeah, let me step back a little bit there.
He may break himself off. Hold on.
Just don't let him.
Let me have the net. You get it and net him if you don't mind, sir.
2 poles to catch 1 fish.
You guys started the day out interesting, I will say that.
Well, you know, Hal and I never do anything easy. It's got to be our way.
That's a
or
nice
no way.
fish.
That is a nice fish.
Yeah, that's a, what, 14, 15-inch fish?
Yeah. That was the funniest thing I've seen.
It took 2 of us to catch him, or maybe it was 3 or 4 actually.
That's a nice fish.
He may live to draw Social Security.
He's gonna make it.
Dennis, you got a good fight out of that fish and didn't even get to catch it. Far enough you can't hear the horn when they start water release.
Yes, sir.
Looky there.
I know, but I'm using that bait, so probably ought to be outlawed. Ed put me onto it, that salmon egg power bait.
We're going to put you in timeout if you keep doing this.
I'll have to go to timeout, and that's all right too.
That's another nice fish too.
Well, it's a nice fish. It'd be a keeper, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Keeper. He's going to shallow water.
Hal actually is acting like he knows what he's doing. That's what
Well, I had a good teacher, and also
I think we have awoken a sleeping giant here.
you have the right bait. You can do a lot. He should jump off by the time I get him here, like a couple of them did last week.
It's a beautiful fish.
No, he's in the lip. Yeah.
Miss
He
number
should
4,
get off or
boy.
break before I
I'll
get
check
him.
my hook.
Well, baby. Well, baby. That's a nice fish.
You know, when Hal figures
There he
out what
goes,
he's
there he
doing,
goes.
he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a hook on right now. I'm just practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And did they stock back in those years? Did they stock the trout?
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think there was as many big fish that I remember then as there are now. I get first fish you caught, Hal, I don't remember that we ever caught any that big. Mainly them, oh, they'd be 10 to 12 inches long. Plus back then it's kind of a secret. I'd liable to fish here biggest part of the day and not see anyone else fishing. Even now there's not a whole lot of traffic on here. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize just how good a fishery we have over here. There's basically 7 miles of this stream that are designated trout waters. A couple of years ago, the department bought this section we're on now called the Watts area. There's actually one of those 7 miles. Looky here, boy.
Hey, hey. Oh boy, look at that fish. Look at that fish. All right.
It's a nice fish too.
Right over there where you
I don't
said
know if he'll hang in with that one Hal caught.
he was. I think it will. Man, that thing. These fish are so fun to catch. And I'm gonna have a
Oh,
little
a double.
and we got a contest.
A double.
Oh, he got off. No, he's not off. And he's not off now, I see him, but he's a fast fish. And here he goes. He's running and a jumping and running. He's
Boys, it don't get much better than this now. When you can hook up a double, that is
I'm glad
good
we got
fishing.
up early. Yeehaw.
I think mine will go less than 10 pounds. I'm hoping mine will jump like that first one Hal had.
Oh man.
He's a bruiser he's staying. Now he's not near as big as I thought he was. He's between my legs.
That one got off.
No.
And that's why I was gonna let him go anyway. Yeah, he got off anyway, but he was a nice fish. He was
This
a
fish
keeper.
must think I'm his big brother or something.
Let me see that fish.
Show you boys a little trick if I can get it to work here.
Nice fish.
See if the fish is big enough.
Pretty.
When you lift him up, you push on his bladder, his air bladder,
Yeah,
and he'll just lay still like that.
I'll be darned.
Now the smaller fish won't do that much.
On the fly.
We have now seen a monkey fly. Greg has a fish. Usually starting right before Christmas, we'll start coming over and we'll fish all winter. These trout are just as good on a snowy January day as they are right now. Cold water doesn't affect them, it affects us fishermen more than it does them.
Huh?
And we'll fish right up till around the 4th of July.
Yeah, it is
Seems
a
like
nice
after
fish.
the 4th, you start smelling that
Look at that thing.
sulfur
Look
smell,
at him
which
go.
means the water coming off the bottom of the lake does not have the oxygen. Well, there's enough for the fish to live, but they don't really, they're not just real energetic. So the fishing really tapers off after the 4th of July when we start getting those 100-degree days. Get your hand wet first, what you've done. slip it under his belly about midways and just lift up. Yeah. What I'm using is a number 6 mosquito hook with about a 1-inch plastic worm. These plastic worms come in 3-inch lengths. I break them down to about 1 inch long because too long a worm, the trout will just grab behind them and you'll fail to hook them. Then I stick a power egg behind the worm, and this is called a Barbie rig. This rig was kind of originated over on the White River in Arkansas. I've tried the egg on first and the worm second, and for some reason they don't like that as well as the worm first and the egg second. Thought I heard another fish splashing there. I try and keep my worm straight. I know this is a weird looking rig, but these fish, trout, are real key on using their vision and scent both to locate food, and I'm giving them both opportunities by doing this. Foot to 14 inches up my bait, I'll put 2 to 3 BB sinkers. It depends on what I can get. Most of the trout I've found like to stay within 6 inches of the bottom. So I want my lure running within 6 inches of the bottom. Trout are also real notorious egg eaters. If you put your sinkers too close to your bait, they'll peck at those sinkers and you won't get near the hits. I'm using 2-pound test monofilament right now on just a light spinning rod and reel. I'll see a lot of people over here where I may catch 15 or 20 fish in a day. They'll catch 1 or 2, and the one thing that I really see that to me they need to change is they use too big of equipment. They'll use a rod and reel like you'd use to fish for sand bass or black bass.
Dennis.
And they'll use 10, 12-pound test line. The fish can see the line.
I got a hit just then.
And also, the lighter line you can, of course, cast farther, but it gives a more natural look to your presentation. If you ever look in this clear water and watch a caterpillar or a worm or some insect, as they drift along, they really can't do anything about this current. In other words, they can't swim out of it like a snake would or a salamander. So that's what these trout are feeding on. So as this swims down, basically it just tumbles and floats. And that's why on my lure you don't see me popping my rod or flicking my finger to make it move. All I want that worm to do is to just go along like it's at the mercy of the water. And those trout will sit there watching, and when that worm comes by, they'll think, well, that's some kind of a worm or insect that's fell in there, and he has no chance to get away, so that'll be an easy dinner for me. And a lot of times I think this bait actually outperforms real bait because I'm constantly moving it. What I like to do is I target the aggressive fish. There's still 2 schools of thought on the trout fishing, and I've tried both. One is you sit in one spot and fish until the fish come to you. And the othering, which is one I like to do, is I actually like to either start at the head of the hole or at the end of the hole, because that's where most of your aggressive fish will be. And I'll work them and either get hits, catch fish or not.
It's not a trout.
I'll fish those 2 areas first, and then I'll hit the center of the hole, which is kind of where all the trout just tend to kind of lie and just kind of rest around like we would sitting in our living room watching TV.
You gotta believe in miracles. Hal's caught a fish.
I also like to throw a 1.5-inch Rapala, a Panther Martin spinner, things like that. The whole thing about lure fishing I've found is I need some movement through the water. If it's just a big deep hole with very little current, I don't do as well with the lures as I would using either live bait or a power bait, dough bait, something like that. But if there's just a little bit of movement like we have in this hole, where you have current entering and then it tapers off into a little deeper water, these plastic worms and things like this really work good.
Pretty trout.
The money that we spend on hunting and fishing license, those funds are used to buy these lands and to create habitat, access for them. Of 7 miles of trout stream, we were able to buy a mile in one purchase. And that'll virtually assure that there'll be trout fishing on this the rest of our days, because we don't have to worry about, you know, someone putting up a no trespassing sign. So
That is.
it's you know, when you spend your dollars buying hunting and fishing license, you're binding for that year. Looky there. That's a fish, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Now the trouble was, I think that was right where I didn't mean to throw right where you were.
Are you saying that's my fish?
This is your fish, but are you just going to sit there?
If I wasn't so left-handed, I'd throw a rock at you. I think I made that fish mad, and he finally decided to hit because I'd been messing with him.
Hey, poor little fella.
That's
Well,
a-
look at this thing. Look at him. What fun, these fish. All right.
Now, what's the deal with them trying to go between our legs today? I mean,
This is what you call a pan size, if it's a small pan.
that's actually the best eating size
Yeah.
right there. They taste good.
Now, he should jump off if... He did jump off. Perfect. I didn't get him up, but he was a beautiful, beautiful fish. Now, I won't do that again for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna, throw over in your area.
You're not bothering me a bit. But you know how
Cast.
when you buy your hunting and fishing license and it pays for land like this, that dollar you may have spent 3 years ago that helped buy this land, it stays with us forever. So it's, when you buy a rod and reel, it will eventually wear out on you, and that's gone. But this is going to be here after you and I are both long gone. Our kids and grandkids will be able to have a place to trout fish and to come and hunt and swim if they want, just do things like that. And,
Feel that tug.
missed another one. Boy, they're just,
It's beautiful to have a place to go like
oh,
this.
it is. And with only 7 miles of this stream that is, you know, the good habitat for the trout, I mean, it's just crucial that we keep,
Yes, sir.
you know, keep areas like this.
Oh, boy.
Like Will Rogers
Yes.
said, they're not making any more land. This is it.
The Illinois River here is a very unique fishery, and we're proud to have it here in the northeast part of the state. As I was saying earlier, though, it doesn't come without hurdles. Our normal hurdles are dissolved oxygen levels and temperature, and then just trying to get some normal releases coming down the river as well. We have struggled with meeting state water quality standards in regards to dissolved oxygen. A lot of times that those standards aren't being met, and we're continuing to work with Southwest Power and the Corps of Engineers to try to remedy that situation as well. The trout stream's gotten by for a lot of years on leakage from the dam and a donation of water from Sequoia Fuels. Sequoia Fuels is in the process of relinquishing their rights and transferring those rights to some other municipalities who have promised to let us use that water, but we have no guarantee how much longer we'll have access to that water. We can use it until which time they need it, but that could be tomorrow. We just don't know. So we're looking at some short-term and medium-term and some long-term solutions to try to improve the area down here. And our short-term solutions would be continuing to work with Southwest Power and the Corps of Engineers to provide some more frequent and longer duration and some better timed releases. And our medium-term solution would be contacting the Corps of Engineers and working with them to try to develop a seasonal pool plan, which would be temporary for a few years, to raise the lake a certain number of feet that would provide enough storage for us to be able to use that water downstream here year-round for the trout stream. And the better solution, in my opinion, would be to work with our elected officials and have them draft some legislation for us that would authorize the Corps of Engineers and Southwest Power to provide storage just for us, just for the trout stream down here, that we could keep cool oxygenated water in the stream year-round. But in spite of all the hurdles, it's a beautiful place to come. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope you come back next week and join us on Outdoor Oklahoma.